Hello, dear friends. It is Dr. Sarah, and thank you for joining me today. Today, I want to talk about diffusing essential oils. Diffusing simply means dispersing volatile compounds into the air. It's one of the most popular and easiest applications for receiving the aromatic and therapeutic benefits of essential oils. There are various options for diffusing essential oils, and there are different considerations to consider when we are emitting volatile compounds into our atmosphere. So today I want to discuss all things diffusing, such as the benefits of diffusing, how to diffuse, what to consider when diffusing in an environment that contains our furry little friends and little tiny humans, and how to avoid scent acclimation and counter effects of over diffusing. We also want to talk about what to consider if someone's in a moldy environment. And finally, what the heck are atomizers? Now, as always, all of the references and resources will be available in the accompanying article, with specifically the resources listed at the bottom. So let's get started and talk about the benefits of diffusing. Inhalation is actually one of the oldest and safest ways to use essential oils. Breathing in aromatic molecules creates an instant shift in mood because the constituents quickly reach the brain and they also disperse throughout the respiratory system and throughout our whole body simultaneously. Now, even if you're not an oils user, you've probably experienced the positive emotional shifts of essential oils through either getting a whiff of your aromatic friends or in a spa atmosphere with relaxing scents being emitted through their essential oil diffusers. Regardless if you are a passive sniffer or an intentional connoisseur, the benefits of this method of aromatherapy are impressive. These include air purifying support without toxic chemicals, assisting our bodies with detoxifying, providing holistic mind-body support through the vast array of biochemical properties of essential oils. So when we inhale essential oils or use them in general, essential oils modulate our immune system and inflammation pathways. They help support several enzymes that help the body detoxify. They act as antioxidants, which means they protect cellular and mitochondrial health. They are antimicrobial, antiviral, and have antifungal effects. And this aids in the mitigating of stealth infections that can accumulate from the environment that we live in and all the toxins and chemicals and cause immune compromise. They impact our neurotransmitters. They aid digestion, assimilation, elimination, and a healthy microbiome. They support our vagal tone. So this means that they enhance our parasympathetic activity, which optimizes our autonomic physiological functioning. In other words, they help our body relax and rest and digest better as they heal and rejuvenate. They also enhance our emotional health, influence neuroplasticity, and shift our brain electrical activity. So that is a lot to do with just simple putting in essential oils into a diffuser and letting those beautiful molecules disperse throughout our environment. So, how do we exactly do this? Now, direct inhalation can be from diffusers, which is probably the best place to start if you're new because it's generally safe due to the high level of dispersion that occurs with essential oil diffusers. There's also more direct inhalation from steam bottles or placing a few drops on a cloth, and these provide more immediate effects. If you use a diffuser, usually you need about 3 to 10 drops total, depending on how big the room is and also who's around you and the scent that you can handle and what your body needs. The benefits will last after the diffusion has ended because the molecules are still into the air that has been absorbed. So you don't need to run it continuously. But for some people, they do put it on intermittent all day, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. So there's the diffusing method, there's the personal inhalation method, and this is a portable way to get direct inhalation of essential oils. You can either place oils on porous jewelry, a bit of cloth or a handkerchief, or even use those inhalers that have a wick placed into a glass tube that you can inhale. There's also the steam inhalation method, and we think about this more for respiratory or breathing issues. Basically, you boil steaming water, and you can place 2 to 3 drops of a single oil or pre-prepared blend into the boiling water and smell it. Just be careful and make sure you know what you're doing. The oils are pretty strong. And if you're going to be using very strong oils, just be mindful of the population you're using them in and if they're sensitive. Now, sprays are another benefit where you literally have a spray bottle and you can have a dual action of the benefits of inhaling essential oils as you're also cleaning your surfaces at the same time because they're antimicrobial. That formula is actually in the accompanying article, so you can check that out there. So these are all ways that you can diffuse or inhale essential oils. Now, there are some considerations I want to talk about when you are diffusing, and there's 2 things to keep in mind specifically about being mindful about little noses, little tiny humans, our kids, and our furry friends, and also the diffusing time and the potential for sensitization of the odors. So if we start with what we call the sensitive population, we want to consider infants and pets. Now, our pets, if they're locked in a room when we're diffusing, remember their sense of smell is a lot more robust than ours. So we want to make sure that the room is open. So if it gets overwhelming, the animals can come in and out. We also want to remember that infants can't leave, right? Because they can't move very well yet. So we want to be mindful of that. Keep that in an open room as well. And when we're diffusing, just pay attention to the infant's behavior and use a very low dose concentration if you're going to do it in the same room or just allow them to have some of the benefits from whole house diffusion and place them in another room. You also want to avoid specific oils with infants and with animals. And you also want to just remember, again, to keep the dose at a minimal. I have several actual resources for you on the accompanying article. One for safe diffusion around infants. There's a podcast and detailed show notes with an interviews that I've done on Essential Oils Revolution on these topics. One was with Dr. Song, where she talks about using essential oils safely with children. And another one is with natural pet doctor, Dr. Kate Woodley, where she talks about the safe application of essential oils with our pets. If we talk about diffusing time, this is kind of a debatable topic. I talked with one of the most esteemed pioneers in essential oils, clinical aromatherapist, herbalist. She actually founded the School of Aromatic Studies, Jade Schutz. In our topic on psychoaromatherapy, she actually provided guidelines for diffusing essential oils. She recommends to diffuse intermittently at 30 minutes to an hour per session, and this will depend on the diffuser's strength and again, how much that we know our body and what a body needs and what scents that we want to smell at the time. If you run the diffuser for too long, you want to consider that there could be a contrary effect. In other words, an opposite effect that occurs. So an oil that might be relaxing, you might be noticing yourself getting agitated. Potentially your receptor sites could be hitting their full potential here and they're saturated, and you just want to give your body a break so that you can receive the benefits again. And also it can be costly because you can get many of the benefits after an hour or two. Some studies do suggest essential oils even overnight. There was a study where they found that 2 hours of nightly diffusion resulted in a 226% enhancement in memory. And I'll have that link in the accompanying article. And you can also just acclimate to the scent if you run it continuously, even if you don't get the contrary effects, which can decrease the effect on mood. I found for me, I can run my diffuser intermittently at extended periods of times with no issues. I'm super used to essential oils. I know how they are in my body, how they act, and I also know when it's time to turn them off. One of the easiest signs is if people start getting headaches or they start going to the bathroom a lot, having to urinate. So that you can keep in mind too. But always consider your diffuser type, any special populations around you, stream strength, and your wellness needs. So those are the 2 major caveats. And then we have the mold issue, because unfortunately, I have had the unpleasure of dealing with mold myself. It's pretty pervasive actually in our population today. Many people are sensitive to mold and are in contaminated environments, especially the populations that functional medicine and integrative doctors are seeing. So when we're considering somebody being in mold, we know that mold likes humidity. We don't want our humidity to go above 60%. That's when mold starts to grow. There's even recommendations to keep it below 50 to 40, 50, even 40%. You do have time if it gets a little bit too high, about 24 hours, but you do want to keep your eye on humidity if you're in mold. Most diffusers are humidifiers as well. They're water and they disperse the essential oils into using a vapor. If you're in a moldy environment, you want to avoid this because you don't want to increase the humidity. So for people that are in mold, I suggest you use a waterless diffuser. They even have travel diffusers with fans, little tiny fans that are battery operated that I found on Amazon a while back. You kind of have to search for them. But those are some options for you. You can also just place cotton balls and put the essential oils on the cotton balls in different rooms because this is a good way too to get them into the area without water. So it might not be as strong as effect for dispersion, but it is doing something. And there are essential oils that have been shown to decrease the amount of mold in the environment. Now, we've talked about the benefits of diffusing. We talked about the different types of diffusing. We talked about what are some of the caveats and considerations with our special populations and our sensitive populations with mold and not over diffusing and getting sensitized to the odor. You probably also want to know about what atomizers are because we see that different diffusers are marketed as atomizers. Now, many in the diffuser world claim that atomizers are the best type of diffusers because they actually help maintain the delicate components of the essential oils and they have concentrated dispersion. I haven't found a lot of PubMed or scientific studies on this. I have found studies that did use an atomizer diffuser with positive results. And I personally use an atomizer because it just makes sense with the technology. And it does seem to be way more concentrated than some of the cheaper versions that I found on Amazon. So to summarize, inhaling essential oils is a safe and effective way to enjoy the holistic mind-body benefits of aromatherapy. And diffusing these aromatics provides many benefits for overall wellness. There's several simple methods to disperse these aromatics in the air, but we want to be considerate when diffusing, including how to adjust the dispersion around sensitive populations and avoiding humidifying the environment too much if we're in a moldy environment. I would love to hear from you on how you inhale essential oils and what your favorite oils are to mist into your atmosphere. Feel free to share into the comments in either the video or into my blog. And I would love to have us all share some different recipes together and learn from each other. If you can, please subscribe to the channel and also provide some feedback so I can continue to give you the information that'll help you the most. And also, if you subscribe to my newsletter, you will be the first to hear about any promotions, any new programs that I have coming up. And you will also get additional content on essential oils and naturopathic and functional medicine that I don't have on my blog or in these videos. So thank you very much for listening.